I was going through life and I was living like this. I would come home and I would just feel so exhausted. And because I had a lot of things to do still, I would just push myself, or even worse, I would just take an abundant amount of caffeine to try to offset that fatigue. Hey guys, it's Choi here. Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about a concept that I've been really fascinated about, and that's energy levels. Now, how often have you ever felt you've come home after a long day of work and you just feel mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausted? Like you can't even get yourself off the couch. You can't even talk to your significant other because you're just so drained. Now, I realized that I was going through life and I was living like this. I would come home and I would just feel so exhausted. And because I had a lot of things to do still, I would just push myself, or even worse, I would just take an abundant amount of caffeine to try to offset that fatigue. Now, this led to things like insomnia and then poor sleep quality, etc., etc. And I realized that this is really no way to live. And so I started looking into, okay, how do we preserve our energy levels? Now, the one thing that you should know is that energy levels and our mental resources are finite. You only have a limited amount every day for you to be able to use and consume. Now, think of it as like your battery for your phone. You would charge your phone every night. The next morning, it would be at 100%. Now, you go through your day and slowly over time, you start to use up those battery resources. What happens when you leave a bunch of programs and apps open in the background? Your battery drains faster. You might get to 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. that day and your battery is at 14%, right? And that's when the panic starts to ensue. Well, we're no different as human beings. If we go through our day, having charged up our battery overnight and hopefully wake up to, a full reservoir of energy, and we're being pulled away in all of these different directions, doing all of these different things, and we have a lot of these background thinking processes running and what have you, you're gonna feel exhausted, you're gonna feel mentally drained midway through the day. Now, how can we use this information? How can we empower ourselves to actually extend our energy resource so that it lasts throughout the day, so that you can come home and you don't feel drained and exhausted? Well, the first thing I mentioned is sleep. Sleep is what charges us up overnight. Just like how we charge our phone so that this way when we wake up in the morning, it's fully charged up. We need to charge ourselves. We need to charge that internal battery life. And the way to do that is through sleep. Now, the National Sleep Foundation says that sleep varies from person to person. It actually varies between ages even. So for adults, the recommended sleep is about 7 to 9 hours. How many of you guys are actually getting that amount of sleep? I know I haven't. I know that when I sleep 7 to 9 hours, I feel so much more better. I feel much more emotionally stable. I feel like I have much more energy so that I can, work out better, so that I can, go through my day and actually be able to accomplish everything that I've set out to. So sleep is the absolute foundation of building up your energy reservoir. Number 2 is something called decision fatigue. Now, this is a concept that I found incredibly interesting. So here's the thing, is that every day when we wake up, we have a bunch of things to do on our task list. We might have hundreds of things to accomplish that day. With each task, we typically need to make some sort of decision. Now, every time you make a decision, every time you do something, you take up a little bit more of that internal battery life, right? So, what commonly happens is that we overload ourselves with too many non-essential decision-making processes. What do I mean by that? So, every day when we wake up, most of us have to go through a morning routine in order to get ready to go to work or what have you. Now, for many, we make decisions such as, what do I want to eat for breakfast today? What do I want to pack for lunch? What outfit do I want to wear? Now, if you look at some of the most successful people in this world, you'll notice that their morning ritual is incredibly consistent. What they wear every day is incredibly consistent. Look at people like Steve Jobs, look at people like Mark Zuckerberg, the black t-shirt and the jeans. There is a very strategic reason behind this. When you don't waste your resources making non-essential decisions, you can actually allocate those resources towards important tasks that only you can do. So your priority tasks. Now, how do we overcome this? Well, here's a simple trick. Start off by picking out what you want to wear the night before. By doing this, you wake up and you already know what you're going to wear. So that already eliminates one decision that you have to make off your to-do list. Start by deciding what you want to eat for breakfast. Now, if you're someone like me who can eat the same thing for several years and just not, get sick of it or get tired of it, that's amazing. Use that to your advantage. Pick one food that you feel that, really boosts your energy levels. Maybe it's yogurt, maybe it's oatmeal or what have you, and stick with that. If you're someone that likes variety, maybe choose three things. Maybe one day it could be eggs and toast. Maybe another day it could be avocado and toast. And perhaps another day it could be yogurt and blueberries. Whatever it is, choose 3 different options, stick with it, and then just cycle through them. This way you reduce the amount of thinking from, anything in this possible world that you can have for breakfast to 3 things. Lunch. Pack your lunch the night before. This way you don't have to worry about it, right? So, decision making. So really the key point behind this is try to reduce the amount of non-essential decisions, especially in your mornings, so that this way you have much more energy to focus on the more important things in your life. Now, the third thing that I want to talk about is all of us have certain things that will boost our energy levels. This could be things like reading, this could be things like journaling, this could be things like exercising, right? Whatever it is, they have a tendency to lift our spirits, they have a tendency to lift our energy levels, and we generally feel a lot better about ourselves if we do that thing. Now, my challenge for you is try to do this thing, whatever it is, whatever works for you, as the first thing in your morning. Think about it like this. You go through your morning routine, and maybe perhaps before you leave for work, you might have drained 5% of your energy resources. This is like using 5% of your battery life off your phone. If you go and exercise, if you take a few minutes to journal, if you take a few minutes to, listen to that podcast or read, whatever it is, you might be able to boost yourself back to 100% before you even get to the office, right? And so that's why it's so important to be able to do these things. Ask yourself, if you could only accomplish one thing today, what one thing would have the greatest positive impact on your life? And do that. Do that as your first thing. And so these three things, again, sleep, reducing the amount of non-essential decision making, and some sort of self-care exercise that boosts your energy levels are the three things that I recommend to really be able to biohack your energy and be able to extend the amount of time that it lasts throughout your day. And so I hope you found this video beneficial. If you do, let me know how it works for you. I'm genuinely curious. And if you have anything that you're personally doing that has really helped you, let me know. Let me know in the comments below, because I'm interested in always learning, and together we can learn together. That's it, guys. Stay tuned for the next episode.